Trust News Center. This is the News Hour.
Tonight on News Hour, Nigerians share experience as INEC distributes PVCs at ward level. PDP candidate dies, House of Representative election may be postponed in Kebbi. Kogi State government queries Ohinoi of Ibra land over failure to welcome President Buhari. Away from Nigeria, Kevin McCarthy emerges U.S. House Speaker after 15 rounds of voting. Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust Television. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for joining. And now we begin with political matters. Ahead of the 2023 election, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) announced commencement of devolution and distribution of permanent voter cards in wards and registration areas from Friday, the 6th of January, to ease distribution and collection of PVCs by prospective voters. Trust TV's Sagir Ibrahim visits Dutang Alaji LEA Primary School Ward Registration Area in Buari Area Council of Abuja to observe the distribution process.
Behind me are prospective voters who have come out in their numbers to collect their permanent voter cards following an announcement by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) that distribution of permanent voter cards will be moved from local government offices to ward and registration areas across the country to fast-track and make easy the distribution process.
This is the LEA Primary School Registration Area, Dutse Alhaji, in Buari Area Council in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. These prospective voters are visibly agitated after waiting several hours to collect their permanent voter cards to no avail.
I came by 9 because they said it's opening by 9, a few minutes past 9. And the place is crowded. The crowd for me is nowhere managed.
This queue here since 8 a.m. At first, the queue was going on well. They write some names. Then the names at long run, I don't understand what was going on again. As if some people were favored, some people have some people that they will attend to them because they know some people. I don't understand.
What they are doing here, they'll meet somebody at the front there. They'll be looking for your name, or maybe they will pass like more than 10, 15 people names before they get into your own name. So that process is not nice.
It's as if they are too slow. For like about 30 minutes, you won't have anybody living there with any good results. They find their way to bring ballot papers to every polling unit. They can as well employ this method of bringing all the staff across all the whole polling unit centers so that people can easily go to their polling unit and get their PVC.
On whether the process has dampened their spirit, they expressed conviction to collect their permanent voter cards no matter the cost.
It's called February 25th, I'm voting. That's for sure for me. I'm voting February 25th. If they come here every day, I'll make the sacrifice to do that.
I will collect my PVC. You can't discourage me. I will vote. I want to vote. Yes, I will vote. I will vote. I'll continue coming until I get my PVC because this time around we must vote and we are going to vote wisely this time. We must get it right.
No, I'm not going to give up. I have to collect it. Even if it takes me from today till 22nd, I'll still come. I'm not going to give up.
INEC had announced that collection of PVCs across wards and registration areas will commence on Friday, the 6th of January and end on Sunday, the 16th. They also added that the process will be on even during the weekends to ensure Nigerians seize the opportunity to collect their PVCs ahead of the February 25 general elections. Sagir Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, as the January 22 deadline for collection of permanent voter cards (PVC) approaches, prospective voters in Gombe State are trooping to collect their cards in INEC establishments in the state. This comes amidst concern over non-collection of thousands of PVCs, including leftover from 2019. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
Determined to cast their vote in the 2023 general elections, a lot of residents in Gombe Metropolis stay on queues to get their permanent voters' cards. Some Nigerians speak on the effectiveness of the electoral body in the collection process.
So I'm here to collect my PVC from the collection INEC. So the process was going smoothly.
The collection process has been very successfully. The INEC staff are doing excellent job. The process has been smooth, and the time consumed is less. As soon as you come, they do their best to verify your slips for enrollment. Then after, they issued out your cards. If your name is found, everything is done successfully.
Actually, we have just collected our voters card right now. We are grateful for that. And we are ever ready whenever the time of election is about to take place. At least we have confidence to go and cast our vote to whoever we like to cast for.
While others have collected their cards, others are still waiting, hoping to have theirs.
It has been going on gradually. It's not very fast and it's not too slow. Some people have been able to collect their own, and some people, they were told that their own is not yet out. So I'm wondering, up to this time, if somebody cannot collect his or her PVC, what will happen by next month when the election will begin? So I think it's better they do something about it so that people will be able to collect their PVC as they are coming.
The Independent National Electoral Commission INEC, Gombe State, said it has created conducive atmosphere for PVC collection in the state.
In line with Section 19 of the Electoral Act 2022, the Commission displayed the preliminary register of voters for claims and objections in the 114 registration areas we have in the state. During the exercise, registered voters had the opportunity to request for correction of their biodata or objection to the inclusion of ineligible persons in the preliminary register.
As at December 2023, there are more than 230,000 uncollected PVCs in Gombe State, a situation that calls for more enlightenment campaign for citizens to collect their cards, as the 2023 general elections is less than 2 months away. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Now, election for Bunza, Birnin Kebbi, Algo Federal Constituency may have to be moved from February 25 following the death of PDP candidate Mohammed Bello Abba. Abba died upon return from United States, where he went to check his father, Bello Haliru. The former PDP chairman, Bello Haliru, has been sick for a while in the United States. His son, Abba, seeking to go to the House of Representatives, however, died on Friday evening. His childhood friend, Ahmadu Umaru Gwandu, confirmed the death. 10 political parties have fielded candidates for the post. INEC has fixed February 25th for presidential and National Assembly elections. Section 34 of the Electoral Act 2022 provides postponement of election to National or State Assembly or Area Council if a candidate dies. The section reads as follows. 34 sub 1 says, if after the time for the delivery of nomination paper and before the commencement of the poll, a nominated candidate dies, the Chief National Electoral Commissioner shall, being satisfied of the fact of the death, countermand the poll in which the deceased candidate was to participate, and the Commission shall appoint some other convenient date for the election within 14 days. 2. The list of voters to be used as a postponed election shall be the official voters' register, which was to be used if the election had not been postponed. 3. If after the commencement of polls and before the announcement of final result and declaration of a winner, a candidate dies. 3A says the Commission shall, being satisfied of the fact of the death, suspend the election for a period not more than 21 days. B says, in the case of election into a legislative house, the election shall start afresh, and the political party whose candidate died may, if it intends to continue to participate in the election, conduct a fresh primary within 14 days of the death of its candidate and submit the name of a new candidate to the Commission to replace the death candidate. Provided that in the case of presidential or gubernatorial or Federal Capital Territory Area Council election, the running mate shall continue with the election and nominate a new running mate. Northern Youth Assembly on Saturday commended the appeal court judgment of the Sokoto division that reinstated Dauda Lawal Dare as the Zamfara governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party. The Federal High Court, Gusau, had earlier nullified the PDP governorship primary election that produced Lawal Dare as the governorship candidate of the party and also stopped the PDP from fielding a governorship candidate for the state for the March 11 governorship election. But the Court of Appeal, Sokoto Division, in a judgment delivered on Friday, set aside the earlier judgment of the Federal High Court, Gusau, and declared Lawal Dare as the authentic PDP governorship candidate in the state. The State Northern Youth Assembly Chairman, Manir Haidara, described the judgment as a welcome development, and he said that the judgment indicated the supremacy of the rule of law as well as the integrity of the Nigerian judiciary. In a similar reaction, some members of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Zamfara State have described the recent judgment of the Court of Appeal, Sokoto Division, which affirmed Dauda Lawal Dare as the authentic governorship candidate of the party for the 2023 general elections as a victory for democracy and people of the state who are yearning for a change of leadership in the state. They were speaking with Trust TV News while reacting to the Court of Appeal, Sokoto Division's judgment that set aside the judgment of the Federal High Court, Gusau, which had earlier nullified PDP governorship primary election and barred the PDP from fielding a governorship candidate in the 2023 general election. The report.
The hope of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) to participate in the 2023 general elections in Zamfara State was on Friday boosted as the Court of Appeal, Sokoto Division, set aside the judgment of the Federal High Court, Gusau, which nullified the governorship primary election of the party, which produced Dauda Lawal Dare as the governorship flag bearer and ruled that the PDP cannot field a candidate in the state for the 2023 general elections. Some members of the PDP in Gusau, the state capital, described the judgment as a welcome development for the party and Zamfara people, as Dauda Lawal Dare is the man who can rescue the state from insecurity, poor standards of education, abject poverty, and improve infrastructure.
What we have seen across the state is reaction, voluntary reaction from people across the state, because Zamfara State had been in the news for so many difficulties, including lack of education, lack of insecurity. So people are looking for hope, people are looking for change, for the desire, and that's what they have seen in the Dr. Lawal.
We were in Sokoto yesterday when the judgment was passed in favor of our candidate and our party in the name of Dr. Dauda Lawal Dare as the authentic candidate for the forthcoming 2023 general election as Zamfara State gubernatorial candidate in Zamfara State.
Bashiri Sarkin Fulani, a member of the PDP in the state, applauded the judiciary for reaffirming its position as the last hope of the common man and also ensuring that the right things are done.
Actually, from 1999 to date, APC has been ruling Zamfara State. But what are the outcomes? What are the indicators of their ruling for that long period? It's failure. No education, no security, the highest level of poverty in this country. For the first time in the history of Nigeria, a state, the whole public school in Zamfara State will not write WAEC exam.
Another member of the PDP in Zamfara State, Nasiru Gusau, appealed to aggrieved members of the party, especially Ibrahim Shehu, to shield his sword and put the interest of the Zamfara people ahead by coming to join the PDP to salvage the state from bad leadership.
Zamfara State people are now have open. We don't do politics because somebody is there. No, we are doing politics now because we want to change. The change that they are calling, they are asking for, we are going to give them change. And inshallah, if you look at even the campaigns, from the presidential campaigns, you can know. Nigerians have changed.
They called on members and supporters of the PDP to collect their permanent voters' cards to enable them vote all candidates of the party in the 2023 general elections so that good governance and the desired change which they have been yearning for in the state will be restored.
With less than 2 months to the 2023 general elections, Nigerians have been reminded of the need to effectively play their role in the task of electing credible leaders for the nation. In Makurdi, the Benue State capital, some residents believe that for the country to get it right, all eligible voters must exercise their franchise on voting days. The report.
Benue State had a population of about 4 million people, according to the 2006 population figures. The number is expected to have increased significantly within the last 16 years due to factors like fertility rate, migration, life expectancy, and others. However, results from the 2019 elections showed that less than 1 million Benue citizens voted in the governorship election. This leaves many wondering if the 2023 polls will present a different or similar scenario.
Every citizen in Nigeria, it is a civic right of yours to participate in voting. You need to hold the card not as an evidence in banks. The card is meant for your vote to count.
A civic duty, a civic responsibility, which we are all expected to live up to.
I yearn for a better Nigeria, a better Benue State. And so I want to be able to vote on that day.
Bottom apathy, ignorance of the significance of political participation, among others, are some of the issues noticed among the youth population, as I found out in the course of this report. Although there has been a significant improvement in awareness creation, some youth, however, complain off camera that the political actors are in their words not bringing out cash. With the electoral umpire, security and anti-corruption agencies on the lookout for vote buying, some Nigerians are positive that the narrative will change in the 2023 polls.
Should not be deceived by the mere currencies that they will be given by politicians, but they should walk up to what is right, grab their PVCs, and then make their vote count.
We should forget about the candidate or whatsoever people call. We should make sure we vote to the right person that will help our economy and all the problems that we have in Nigeria.
Discourage political apathy. Because many people have this impression that, why am I wasting my time voting since my vote won't count? No, your vote will count. Make effort and vote.
As Nigerians prepare to vote to elect new leaders, they are united in the belief that whoever wins the presidency, we have so much to do to address the many challenges confronted.
Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Bola Tinubu, says votes cast for him on February 25 shall secure the future of Nigerians. Speaking at the APC presidential rally at the Moshood Abiola Democracy Park on Saturday in Akure, Tinubu said his renewed hope agenda is to transform the country and make Nigerians happy. The presidential candidate, who lauded the mammoth crowd that received him, explained that he was in the race for the betterment of the country. He promised that he would replicate his achievements as Lagos State Governor at the national level if elected president. Tinubu, who described Ondo State as a state of the progressives, promised to make the proposed Ondo Seaport a reality if elected, while also promising to invest massively on infrastructure and make electricity supply a reality. Tinubu pledged to prioritize education so that indigent students could access student loans. Delta State government has slammed the deputy president of the Senate and governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress over a purported letter warning banks to stop advancing loans to the state government. Commissioner for Information in the state, Charles Anyagu, who spoke at a news conference in Asaba, said Omo Agege has no right or powers to stop the government from carrying out any constitutional action. Anyagu said that the state government operates an open government and has been transparent and accountable to the people in all its financial dealings. He said that the APC candidate had failed to tell the people what he intends to do, but rather resorted to personality attacks on the governor who was not on the ballot with him.
Even the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria cannot warn a bank not to deal with the state. Once you meet the condition precedent for something to happen, the president cannot warn anybody to say don't deal with this, but he does not have the power. You have been in this state. You know that there has never been any time we took any facility, whether it's outright loan or bridging finance, that we did not make it public. None. Because in following the processes, we usually brief, even from the ESCO. When we go to the House of Assembly, you have correspondence in the House of Assembly where these things are debated even at the committee level. There has never been any time that we do the backdoor thing. The 100 billion that was approved, we have not finished assessing it. How can he now wake up and tell you that we're not asking for 40 billion? For what now? So if the man wants to campaign, let him go and tell that and what he wants to do.
The Kogi State government has issued a query to the Ohinoi of Ibra land, Ado Ibrahim, for allegedly disrespecting President Muhammadu Buhari and Governor Yahaya Bello. The monarch was accused of refusing to welcome the president during his working visit to the state on December 29, 2022. The query was conveyed in a letter dated 5th of December 2022 and signed by the Director, Chieftaincy Affairs, Eniola, on behalf of the Commissioner, Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs. The monarch was directed to forward a written explanation within 48 hours on why disciplinary action should not be taken against him for acts of insubordination and disloyalty. A palace source told Trust TV that the monarch has received the query and is considering his next course of action. Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the Young People's Party, YPP, and son of the Ohinoi of Ibra land, Prince Malik Ado Ibrahim, has described the query letter from the government of Kogi State as unfortunate and insensitive to the events of December 29, 2022. In a reaction transmitted to Trust TV on Saturday, Prince Malik says it shows no empathy for the death and destruction the bomb blast caused on that day, as the query made no mention of the incident, while noting that the blast happened 500 meters to the venue of the president's visit. Prince Malik says the Ohinoi took the necessary steps to secure the affected location and have the palace staff tend to the dead and wounded inside and outside the palace as top priority. He berated the government of Kogi State, which, according to him, has not even paid a courtesy visit to the palace or the area affected. The presidential candidate says at 93, the Ohinoi being the oldest monarch in Nigeria, no one can question his care for his people, his patriotism, and his deepest respect for the president and the presidency. The timely intervention of the operatives of the Plateau State Police Command on Friday night prevented suspected kidnappers from abducting the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Yakubu Sanda. In a statement signed by Police Public Relations Officer Alfred Alabo, the incident occurred on the Speaker's arrival at his residence in Federal Low-Cost area of Jos South Local Government area. Sanda was said to have been accosted by 3 gunmen who attempted to forcefully gain entrance into the house, but were prevented by security personnel on duty. The PPRO stated that the timely response of the divisional police officer and his men, who joined forces with the security personnel on guard, repelled the assailants. He added that the command is making concerted efforts to track down the fleeing suspects. You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at why people answer funny names. Details of this and more after the break. This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Ba a iya sutura da abinci jin daɗin duniyar mai ƙare. Za ka iya more rayuwarka da kayan alfarma na kamfanin Vento Furniture kamar su Ladi Corner Sets, Escape Sofa Sets, Acadia Sofa, Piano Sofa Sets, Sofa Corner Sets, Vento Sofa Sets. Sannan kuma za ku iya saka ƙayatattun gadaje na alfarma a ɗakunan kamar su Gold Cream Bedroom Sets, ko kuma ku wadata falonku da kujeru na alfarma irin su Sare Royal Set da Acadia Dining Sets. Ofishoshinku kuwa za ku iya saka manya-manyan kujeru na kece raini domin walwala da jin daɗin ku da abokan hulɗa. Kamfanin Vento Furniture ya tanadar muku gadajen bacci na yara masu inganci, kayan ɗaki irin na angwaye da amare, har ma da sarakuna. Muna da shagunanmu a gurare kamar haka: 79 Allen Avenue, Ikeja, Lagos; 7A Azikiwe Road, Port Harcourt; 25 Glover Road, Ikoyi, Lagos; Shop U1 Jabi Lake Mall, Abuja; da kuma 4330 Walker Road, Windsor, Ontario ga mazauna ƙasar Canada. Vento Furniture, mun zagaye ko'ina.
Daily Trust presents 20th Daily Trust Dialogue. Theme: Interrogating the 2023 Presidential Agenda. Panelists: Professor Jibrin Ibrahim, Professor of Political Science and member of the Board of the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD. Dr. Yetunde Anibaba, Lecturer, Analysis of Business Problems, Lagos Business School. Dr. Eugene Enahoro, Human Capacity Development Specialist and CEO, Heltoni Services Limited. Date: Thursday, 25th January 2023. Time: 10 a.m. Venue: NAF Conference Center and Suites, Gwarimpa Expressway, near Next Shopping Mall, Kado, Abuja. For sponsorship and branding participation, contact 081 00 49 1948, 081 65 32 0660, or 080 33 92 8902. The event will be broadcast live on Trust TV.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
Welcome back. You are watching the News Hour on Trust Television. Let's take a look at the top stories again. Nigerians share experience as INEC distributes PVCs at ward level. PDP candidate dies. House of Representative election may be postponed in Kebbi. Now, the Joint Action Committee of the Non-Academic Staff Union of Universities, that's NASU, and the Senior Staff Association of Nigeria Universities, SANU, Taraba State University chapter, on Friday, again protested over non-payment of their salaries and hazard allowances. The university staff, in their protest letter presented to the Vice-Chancellor of the institution, Professor Sunday Bako, are demanding payment of the outstanding salary balance for March and June 2022, payment of the outstanding responsibility and hazard allowances for September 2021, among others. The NASU and SANU chairman, Solomon Ishaya Audu and Bitrus Joseph Ajibauka, during the protest, called on the council and management to do the needful on the matter. The Vice-Chancellor of the university, Professor Sunday Bako, while addressing the protesting staff, assured them that the university management and the government were working to meet the staff's legitimate demands. President Muhammadu Buhari has commiserated with the government and the people of Kebbi State over the loss of several lives after a boat conveying farmers, more than 100 women and children, broke apart on a river in Kebbi, killing at least 10 people. The president, in a statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, commended the efforts of rescue workers who searched for days for the missing persons. He further urged stakeholders to pay more attention to proper regulation of transportation by boats, especially in rural areas. According to a local official in Kebbi, the vessel ferrying passengers returning from a farm on the River Niger broke in half as it approached Samanaji village in Koko Bese district. The political administrator of the district, Yahaya Bello Koko, said that the boat had been overloaded with passengers, adding that more than 80 passengers were rescued. President Muhammadu Buhari has again ordered security agencies to eradicate crude oil theft and pipeline vandalism in the Niger Delta before May 29. The president, represented by the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Temipre Silva, gave the charge while addressing security agencies that comprised the Navy, Air Force and Army, and the Nigerian Navy, NNS, Pathfinder and 115 Special Operations Squad of the Nigeria Air Force in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. The report.
Minister of State, Petroleum Resources, Temipre Silva, along with top government officials, reminded security personnel fighting to stamp out oil theft in the Niger Delta during a visit to the area of President Muhammadu Buhari's directive to end the menace within the life of the present administration. He noted that due to the scaled-up security efforts of the federal government, it has helped to shore up production to about 1.5 million barrels per day, adding the federal government could no longer tolerate the act of sabotage against it in the guise of oil theft and pipeline vandalism.
Mr. President mandated us to come here and give his commendation to the officers and men of the armed forces who have been involved in the fight against oil theft. We've seen significant improvement since we started this fight, and Mr. President thought it was fitting for us to come and give this commendation to further bolster the morale of the armed forces. We are not exactly where we ought to be, but we have also charged them to redouble effort to ensure that oil theft is a thing of the past. Mr. President, really I want to leave that as a legacy before he exits on May 29 to ensure that oil theft has been totally dealt with.
The Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, in his remarks, urged the security agencies to remain steadfast in the campaign to hold crude oil theft in the country.
The motivation that has come from this commendation will be, some form of verve that will enable us to pep up, what we're doing to ensure that the desire of Mr. President is achieved overall. And I think that that's what we'll be looking at, reassessing the gaps, what has made us to make this impact, what has not made us to be so effective, and how to close it up. So this is precisely what we will do. And I would also like to use this opportunity to say that what this has indicated is that there's a need for everyone to have his hand on the plow. It's a collective effort which, more or less validates that position that together we will win.
Other officials on the minister's team were the Chief of Naval Staff, CNS, Vice Admiral Awal Gambo, Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, Benga Komolafe, and the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Mainstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, Farouk Ahmed.
Now, names are a means of identification that differentiate one person from another. It has always been assumed that in Africa, people are named to commemorate certain events, identify where they come from, or define their craft. But the names of some persons, when interpreted, are just strange. Trust TV in this report looks at how funny names can get.
Choosing a name is a very important thing in Nigeria. It speaks to your status, identifies your lineage, links to people to strange occurrences when they were born, or identifies their religious leaning. In some cultures, names are carefully chosen to reflect the aspirations of parents and serve as a prayer for future prosperity. But it will seem not all the time. Some names that parents choose just don't add up. This man, called Nueth, says his name means God of the trees, and his name reflects circumstances of his birth.
I don't feel an urge to change the name. You know, sometimes we in Africa, we think it's all about the name. To me, I feel like it's what you believe in. And so I don't think there's an urge to change the name or whatever. The name was given out of what she felt at that moment. So I don't think there's any reason or any means to change the name or whatever.
My name is really great, I must confess, because it was through the grace of God I'm even here. Because I'm 7 months baby. The reason why they put like Akuben for me is because like it was by God's grace I survived. And I'm really a good seed.
Sometimes it's not parents that are guilty of coming up with queer names. Jackie, for instance, was not given his name, which means donkey, by his parents. Rather, the name was a nickname from his co-workers.
I look at it that is that all policemen, if you want to do, or you don't want to do, if you call it Jackie, you will say Esa. Do you understand? Whatever you do, either good or bad, okay, come here, Esa. Whether you do or you don't do, you say Esa. So I take over it. I said, all of you are Jackie.
Not all persons are like Jackie, who chose to keep his nickname because of his popularity. Akuben, whose name means a god seed, is thinking of changing his name because of how people pronounce it. Then there's Nayu, which means hand on the head. It depicts that whenever you're thinking or confronted with something desperate, your hands should be on your head. Despite the quaint philosophy, Nayu is contemplating a change of name, despite it being given to him by his grandparents.
The advantage of the native name is that it's good for someone to have a native name because it's been originated from the grassroots. So anybody that gave birth to a child have to give the person a native name. It's very, very important so that anywhere you go, you may likely use the native name for some purpose and for some reason.
Several people bear names that they choose for themselves or legally appended to their given names, since those names became a popular means of identification. For many, the course of acquiring a name through parents, peers, location, religion, and other means can get really queer.
Still talking about names. In traditional Africa, naming a child is more often than not linked to circumstances surrounding the birth of such a child. This makes some of the names to sound funny to some people and sometimes mysterious to others when one digs into their meanings. Jimmy Azande spoke to some Benue residents on issues around names and filed in this report.
In the West, the concept of naming means little or nothing to either the parents or the children. Hence, it is common to hear people bear names like grass, apple, field, orange, rice, etc. On the contrary, Africans, especially Nigerians, and in particular the Tiv people of North Central region, consider certain factors before naming a child.
You know that names have impact on people's lives. In the first instance, names have contextual and connotative meanings. A name may mean something, but in the context within which they use that name, it may mean a different thing. If they give you a name like Chayua, which means poverty is going to kill you, then it is likely that the power of life and death lies in the tongue. It may now impact on your life. So most people grow up to realize that the name that was given to them is rather drawing them back instead of taking them forward, and they change their names. There was somebody called Bazinda. Bazinda means they are pursuing you. She got married to about 3 different husbands and they pursued her.
The factors considered when naming children make seemingly funny or mysterious name not merely happenstance, as such names have genealogical or circumstantial meanings. However, many believe that bearers of some names sometimes face negative consequences if such names connote negativity.
Your father have a classmate, Yoganda. Once upon a time when we were in school, he said he don't want to answer Yoganda again. Or if you are Yoganda, it is not because you have been rejected by your father's kinsman, as the name implies. Your father or your mom is only expressing her feeling or his feelings. That's why he so names you. But I have come across situations whereby people say that no, don't call me this name again because it is archaic, it is superstitious, it is this or that.
Grew up as offspring of our fathers, and we came by names, and such names we seek to understand some meanings which in our present days we are no longer comfortable with it. Especially among the female, Yangu-chan means house is difficult, and most people are no longer, even girls that are bear that names, that they were given such names as they grew up, they are changing the names.
When I was born, my father said he has known all these people who were complaining that the wives,
and most people are no longer, even girls that are bear that names, that they were given such names as they grew up, they are changing the names.
When I was born, my father said he has known all these people who were complaining that the wives will not marry here. But now, eventually, he has won the battle. So he has known those people, but he don't want to expose them. So most of these names have a lot of names, meanings. And that is why he called me Father.
In recent times, however, widespread Christianity has shifted the tradition of naming to a more spiritual affair, as biblical names and positive Christian virtues are replacing negative names. This shift, many believe, attracts positivity to those who bear such names.
Well, are you considering changing your name? Let's know under the comment section on our social media platforms. Now, Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has advised the new board of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, to do things differently. Governor Wike gave the charge when the new chairman of the NDDC board, Loretta Onochie, led other members of the board on a courtesy visit to him at the Government House, Port Harcourt. The report.
Governor Wike maintained such a difference should be the adoption of a regional development approach that will strictly commit to the holistic development of Niger Delta states. The governor urged the Onochie-led board to embrace the conceptualization and implementation of projects like the construction of highways and bridges to link states. Such projects, he opined, will serve as economic corridors to ease interstate movements and promotion of socio-economic integration within the region.
NDDC has become a cash cow for politicians. Look at the amount of money NDDC is lost in this state just to win the election here. Cash, 10 billion, carry, go and give, wasted. 10 billion you would have used to construct a mega project in a state. Development of the people of Niger Delta. All you see is political contracts. Somebody living here, you go and do a road of 50 meters leading to his gate, Is that the duty of NDDC?
Governor Wike also urged the NDDC to pay up its partnership and contractual obligation of 2.5 billion naira, which is half of the 5 billion naira mutually agreed between it and the Rivers State government for the reconstruction of the dualized Eastern Bypass Road leading to NDDC headquarters.
When I talk about integrity, people don't understand. NDDC came to us that we should partner to dualize that road. We awarded to Julius Berger. At 5 billion naira, NDDC to bring 2.5, we have to bring 2.5. And we have finished the road. If I have sealed the plate that say you will enter here, oh, we can have started a problem.
The new chairman of NDDC board, Loretta Onochie, said they visited Wike to formally introduce themselves to him as the governor of their landlord state. Onochie acknowledged the remarkable quality of infrastructure delivered by the administration of Governor Wike that has transformed the entire landscape of Rivers State.
Trillions of naira has been pumped into this commission, and we have little or nothing to show for it. We are here now very determined to do things differently.
The Rivers State Governor advised the new board to ensure that when projects are awarded, they should not be given to portfolio or political contractors, but to competent ones who will stick to delivering quality and enduring projects.
You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. We'll take a quick break. The news continues shortly. Join us again. Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Created a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Or really, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
Welcome back from that break. Time now for us to take a look at business updates as presented by Chiamaka Mwafo.
The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has ordered deposit money banks to immediately stop the payment of the new Naira notes to customers who are making over-the-counter withdrawals. The Apex Bank instead directed that the banks should rather load their automated teller machines ATMs with only new notes to ensure that the currency circulates across the country ahead of the January 31st, 2023 deadline, when the old notes will no longer be legal tender. Osita Wasinobi, CBN spokesperson, said the new directive takes effect immediately, adding that the directive was given to increase the circulation of the new Naira notes across the country ahead of the January 31st deadline to phase out the old notes. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority has sealed 14 filling stations in Oron, Akwa Ibom for selling premium motor spirit (PMS) above the regulated price. The agency's team lead, distribution system storage and retailing infrastructure, John Koro, made the disclosure in Oron on Saturday. Koro said the filling stations would be sanctioned. He warned marketers to desist from selling petroleum products above the approved pump price. World food prices fell for 9 months in a row in December, but hit their highest level on record for the full year in 2022. This was disclosed by UN data. Food prices soared to a monthly record high in March after Russia invaded agricultural powerhouse Ukraine, a major supplier of wheat and cooking oil to the world. However, prices have dropped since then, with more relief brought by a deal brokered by Turkey and the United Nations in July that lifted a Russian naval blockade on Ukrainian grain exports. The Food and Agriculture Organization said Friday its price index, which tracks the monthly change in international prices of a basket of food commodities, fell to 132.4 points in December, a 1.9% drop from November. And finally, in stocks, the market opened for 4 trading days this week as the federal government of Nigeria declared Monday, the 2nd January 2023, a public holiday to mark the New Year celebration. A total turnover of 921.856 million shares worth 24.154 billion naira in 15,601 deals was traded this week by investors on the floor of the exchange. The financial services industry, measured by volume, led the activity chart, while the industrial goods industry and the conglomerates industry came second and third, respectively. The NGX All-Share Index and market capitalization depreciated by 0.06% to close the week at 51,222.34 points and 27.899 trillion naira, respectively. 38 equities appreciated in price during the week, 17 equities depreciated, while 102 equities remained unchanged. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Mwafo.
Now, away from Nigeria, Republican Congressman Kevin McCarthy has emerged Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, and McCarthy emerged in the early hours of Saturday after 15 rounds of voting, overcoming the opposition of right-wing rebels who had upset his bid to lead the chamber for several days. The Californian veteran politician eventually secured the House's gavel after gathering 216 of the 428 votes cast late on Friday. Reuters said Hakeem Jeffries, who succeeded Nancy Pelosi as the Democrats' leader, got 212 votes. With McCarthy finally ascending to the Speaker's chair, the House will finally start swearing in newly elected lawmakers, and the 2023-2024 session can commence. It was the first time in a century that a Speaker was not elected in the first round. Mali's military leader has pardoned 49 soldiers from neighboring Ivory Coast who were arrested in July and accused of being mercenaries the Malian presidency said in a statement. The 49 were detained after arriving at Mali's Bamako airport. Ivory Coast said that the soldiers were part of a United Nations peacekeeping mission in Mali and were contracted to work for a private company contracted by the UN. The soldiers' arrest and charges against them sparked a diplomatic dispute between Mali and Ivory Coast. The mass pardoning comes 1 week after 46 of Ivorian soldiers were sentenced to 20 years in prison. Iran on Saturday executed 2 men for killing a paramilitary force member during unprecedented protests sparked by the death in custody of a young woman. The latest hangings doubled the number of executions to 4 over the nationwide protest, which escalated since mid-September into calls for an end to Iran's clerical regime. 2 men were put to death in December, sparking global outrage and new Western sanctions against Iran. Judicial news agency Mizan Online reported that Mohammad Mehdi Karami and Sayed Mohammad Husseini, the main perpetrators of the crime that led to the martyrdom of Ruhollah Jamian, were hanged on Saturday morning. Prosecutors said that the 27-year-old militiaman was stripped naked and killed by a group of mourners who had been paying tribute to a slain protester, Hadis Najafi. The executions come in defiance of a campaign by international rights groups for the lives of the 2 men to be spared. And in sports news, Super Eagles forward Kelechi Iheanacho got the goal which sealed a 1-0 win for Leicester City at League 2 side Gillingham in the 3rd round of the Emirates FA Cup on Saturday. After a goalless first half, Iheanacho broke the deadlock in the 56th minute, slamming his finish into the top corner from 8 yards. It was Iheanacho's first goal for Leicester City since scoring in a 5-2 loss at Brighton on 4th of September 2022. While Iheanacho played for 90 minutes, Wilfred Ndidi was introduced in the 81st minute for Nampali's Mendy. Maduka Okoye and William Troost Ekong featured for Watford, who were eliminated in this season's FA Cup after a 2-0 defeat to Reading. Still on sports news, Samuel Chukwueze was at his best as Villarreal defeated holders Real Madrid 2-1 at the Estadio de la Ceramica on Saturday. Chukwueze was in action for 90 minutes in the thrilling encounter. The 23-year-old has scored once in 15 league appearances for the Yellow Submarine this season. Real Madrid missed the chance to put pressure on leaders Barcelona following the defeat. And that's a wrap on Trust News Hour. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube channel. I am Ayuba Ilea. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.